Angola's former strongman, President José Eduardo Dos Santos, whose nearly 4-decade rule of the oil-rich nation was marred by allegations of plunder and nepotism, was laid to rest amid a family row. The funeral, which was disputed by some of his children, was held at the historic palm tree-lined Praça da República in the seaside capital Luanda on what would have been Dos Santos's 80th birthday. It comes days after his party, the People's Movement for the Liberation of Angola, MPLA, which has ruled the country for nearly half a century, saw its worst results at the polls in the most hotly contested elections since independence. Dos Santos, who died last month following a cardiac arrest, will be remembered as a statesman and devoted Pan-Africanist. Namibia's ex-president Sam Nujoma, aged 93, told the hundreds of mourners in attendance. A choir sang dirges while flags flew at half-mast around the square, which houses an imposing concrete mausoleum where the country's founding president Agostinho Neto is interred. Dignitaries including South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa, the Democratic Republic of Congo's President Felix Tshisekedi, and Portugal's President Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa filled rows of white and gold seats. Joacina dos Santos, the late leader's daughter, sobbed while recalling her father's love for music. During Angola's war for independence, the young Zedu, as he was called, began his career as a revolutionary by recording LPs that encouraged the fight against colonizer Portugal while he took refuge in the neighboring DRC, she said. A representative of his foundation collapsed in the middle of his eulogy. A 21-gun salute rung as a portrait of Dos Santos was carried ahead of the coffin, supported by military-clad pallbearers in a slow procession to the mausoleum where he was laid to rest. Dos Santos was referred to by many, particularly MPLA members, as the architect of peace, who brought democracy and multi-party politics to the country. On the streets of Luanda, some people were more crucial of his legacy. Dos Santos led the country from 1979 to 2017 under the MPLA banner, which saw its worst performance in this week's election. Following Saturday's deadly clashes that took place in the Libyan capital, Tripoli, the Prime Minister of the Tripoli-based government, Abdulhamid Deiba, stressed the need for elections. Militias patrolled nearly deserted streets in Libya's capital Sunday, a day after clashes killed over 30 people and ended Tripoli's months-long stretch of relative calm. The fighting broke out early Saturday and pitted militias loyal to the Tripoli-based government against other armed groups allied with a rival administration that has for months sought to be seated in the capital. Residents fear the fighting that capped a months-long political deadlock could explode into a wider war and a return to the peaks of Libya's long-running conflict. Libya has plunged into chaos since a NATO-backed uprising toppled and killed longtime dictator Muammar Gaddafi in 2011. The oil-rich country has for years been split between rival administrations, each backed by rogue militias and foreign governments. The current stalemate grew out of the failure to hold elections in December and Libya's refusal to step down. In response, the country's East-based parliament appointed a rival Prime Minister, Fatih Bashagha, who has for months sought to install his government in Tripoli. Kevin Kasoma, CTV PM Edition.